Hey everybody, Nish Majumdar here, career coach to the fiercely ambitious, and here's a question for you. How bad is your Monday morning? Now, a lot of people think, because I'm in career coaching and I advise job seekers and I help people kind of live out their dreams there, that I'm just a machine, I'm doing that 24/7. That's not true. I love doing that. Partly because I've been a rebel my entire life, and I just can't stand companies. I can't stand authority, is the truth. So, of course, I'm invested in doing it. But let's be real. Let's be really honest here. Of course, I would rather be having fun. Of course, I would rather be enjoying myself on the weekends. I'm a big cigar smoker, puffing a cigar, having a scotch, spending time with my family. These are the things that I love, So, I don't mean to say that Monday comes around and you're not feeling a little bit of that, like, oh man, I wish I had that extra day to really get in that extra bike ride or whatever it is that you do. What I'm talking about though isn't just the normal, the weekend's over and then now it's time to go back to work. It's dread. I'm talking about real pain that is involved with the prospect of going back to work. I don't know if you know this, but a recent study said that only a third of American workers report feeling engaged at work, which means over 60% of people, you're stuck in gridlock. Every 2 out of 3 cars, someone's in there and they're not having a good day. They are upset, they're tired, they're emotionally exhausted. They're thinking to themselves, why am I robbing time that I could have been spending with my family for a paycheck that isn't high enough? Why am I putting up with a boss who's just the scum of the earth? Just a pathetic excuse for someone. And yeah, those people exist from CEO on level on down. You don't get a magical pass when you join the executive suite. There's a-holes everywhere. So yes, it's all there. And yes, the majority of those people are feeling that sense of upset and anguish because they don't know what to do. They're stuck in this hamster wheel and they don't know how to get themselves out. So what if that's you? What if you're feeling like your heart is just not in it anymore and it just feels like rolling a boulder uphill every time you throw up to work, What do you do? And how do you get past that? I want to share a couple of tips because I don't think anyone should have to deal with that. And if you're watching me and you're watching these videos, I'm going to assume that you've got a level of ambition. I'm going to assume that you have a level of vision and that you're asking yourself those questions. So what are some things that you can do right now if your heart isn't in your work right now to change things, to make things better? What can you do? Here's the first one, okay? I want you to sit down and I want you to assess what success looks like for you today versus when you started. Let me give you an example. A lot of people will look at me and they'll say, Anish, before you went into career coaching and all that stuff, I was a journalist for many, many years. I'm a published author. I wrote a novel. I was a film and TV actor, and they often ask me, how do those things jibe with one another and why are you doing what you're doing now? A big part of it, is changing priorities. It was about 3 years ago when I decided to really take this little sideline I had of resume writing and just explode it and really just be there for clients from start to finish and just say, let's go, let's embark on this journey and let's totally change your life. Let's change your professional life. It was only about 3 years ago. Up until then, everything was a sideline. Me working for, writing resumes was a sideline. Me getting the next book published was a sideline. And ultimately, I just reached a point where I said to myself, I always feel so stretched thin. Nothing is getting the attention that it deserves. And yes, when I was 20, I had certain dreams, right? I had a dream that, I'm going to be a world famous actor. And then it was, I'm going to be a famous journalist. And I did write for some amazing publications, not famous though. And I was going to be a published author, and I attained a lot of those things. But what happened is a lot of those things started to feel way less satisfying. Honestly, the truth is, when I had a lot of those dreams, I was single. I had nobody. I was alone. I was alone, working alone, being by myself. And today I'm so lucky. I mean, I've been married to the love of my life, and I have two beautiful children, and they make my world go round, and they totally shifted my priorities. And I say that unabashedly. I say that from a place of knowing that me at 37 is a different human being than me at age 20. And now my priorities is I want something that I have control over. Now my priorities are, I don't want to just see abstract change happen. I want to know that the work that I'm doing is actually changing someone's life. So a big part of it for me was sitting down and reassessing, hey, at age 35 or 36 or 37 or however old you are, sit down and say, what does success look for you now? Because I think you might be very surprised that your goals and your outcomes can shift totally from when you entered the workforce to now. What you want now, what your priorities look like now, what fulfillment looks like now, can be totally different. Maybe you care way more about the work-life balance. Maybe you know that you need every Friday afternoon off to spend time building that relationship with your wife, building that relationship with your son or your daughter. That is valid, but you need to first start by expressing that. I need to first start by looking at it and say, yes, this is an honest representation of what success looks like now. This is what I want to get out of it now, not yesterday. Because a lot of times that pain happens when you're still trying to carry out and live an ideal that you've outgrown. And there is no shame with that. Your dreams can change, your priorities can change, your perspectives and tactics can change. That is something to be honored and worshipped. That is not something that you should feel ashamed of. It's a false priority we have in this world that somehow being legitimate is being an unchanging person. Losers are unchanging people, okay? That's not you, so don't worry about it. So that's one. Here's another one. Take a look at what you do, your core responsibilities, if you will, at your work, and ask yourself, are there ways that I can reframe and adjust some of my existing responsibilities to be a better fit? For example, say you started out in a really technical type of role. And what you've discovered over the last year or two is that you love the customer-facing side. You love that ability of being able to influence and negotiate a deal and make that happen. Well, one thing you can do is you can start having a conversation with your boss and say, look, I've really discovered this part of myself that I didn't know. It's been working out, but I really want to take this to the next level. Would it be possible for us to rejigger what I do on a day-to-day, month-to-month, year-to-year basis to focus more on the client-facing side? Because I think I can really deliver some results there. And can we delegate, change, shift around to make that happen? That conversation is going to be wonderful and essential to have the minute you do an assessment of what your current goals are anyway. So it's only going to help. But that way is a way to really start looking at your current role and say, is there more fulfillment here? Because a lot of times a couple of simple shifts there is going to have a world-changing effect on you, in terms of how happy and fulfilled you are. So don't let that one go. Third idea, all right, start a side hustle. We live in the greatest age known to man for entrepreneurialism. And entrepreneurialism isn't just for the Elon Musks of the world, It's not just for like the guys who read Entrepreneur Magazine. No, it's for everyone. If you have a passion, if there's something that you're interested in, something you can sell, something that you can do, some kind of consulting work that you can do, some other talent. Let's say you've gotten into coding, you want to use that. It is a magical thing to put out your own shingle, which is very easy to do online, and start getting some money that way. It's not about the number of the money, okay? Don't judge it, okay? But I will tell you this. I started 10 plus years ago getting into business for myself. The most important dollar I ever made was that first one. Because the minute someone said yes to me, I knew that it was real. The minute someone said, yes, I'm going to pay you as just an independent, a person to do this service for me, was a life-changing moment for me because I realized that it's possible. And if you start a side hustle, you're going to see that the minute someone gives you $1 to do something that you're passionate about, something that you're good at, it's going to open up a whole horizon because it really is true. If someone is going to pay you $1, people will pay you $1 million. It's just a question of making changes and extrapolating and magnifying. Starting a side hustle is a really great way to really get those fires going if your heart isn't in your work anymore, or you need that extra oomph, you need to get that charged up. And finally, this bears saying, okay, we've been talking about some ideas here, to really get your heart back into what you do. We've been talking about doing a self-assessment of what success and fulfillment looks like for you now, and that's a wonderful thing to do. We've been talking about, are there ways that you can readjust your current responsibilities at your current job to fit into what you want to pursue and what gets you excited now? Also good. Finally, we've been talking about starting a side hustle, and that magic of someone paying you on a one-to-one basis to do what you love. That is also a great way to do it. Finally, though, okay, and this really bears mentioning, if you've gone down this path and it's not working for you, or if you know that your job is a poisoned well and there is no way, there are too many external factors that are going to keep this from ever being fulfillment, and ever being something real that you can help, then let me tell you with no excuses, okay? Make the change. It's all right. You can make the change. You can step away from a job. You can leave a job. You don't have to believe the lies that corporate America, which wants to turn you into a wage slave, would have you believe that your life is over the second you stop suckling at the corporate teat. It's not true. It's not true. I've worked with some of the best, most amazing, inspired professionals in the world. They all have gaps. They all have periods of transition in their lives. They all have companies that they wanted to try that didn't work out. It's all right. It's all right. You have a larger, more beautiful, amazing journey. Don't worry about that. If you need to make that change, if that is what you need to do for your own sense of self and sanity, self-worth and power, know that you can do that. Know that that is never off the table. Know that you can do that, and mazel tov if you are one of the brave who will do that. But these are some ways that you can really bring the passion back, bring some of the fire back into your life, and some strategic ways that you can do that. Because life is too short. And I don't want you to be one of those people stuck in traffic hating their lives. Life is too short for that. It's going to be over before we know it. And I want you to be happy. And I want you to feel satisfied. And I want you to feel excited by what your life is. I want you to feel like you're one of the lucky ones, not just Saturday and Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I want your life to be an expression of who you are and a celebration. So know that, and know that you have a friend, and know that you have an advocate for that. Thank you for learning with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. If this is resonating with you, if you feel like this is something that you can do, if you're dealing with some struggles on that front, shoot me a comment. Let me know. Let me know what's going on. I'd love to enter into a dialogue with you and help if I can. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye. If you like that video, I encourage you to hit subscribe to get other expert tips and strategies that will take your career further.